All right, so I'm sharing my screen. So all of you joining this class first time, right? Right. So I think all of you was the part of the demo which we conducted and last week, I think. Anyone which is like for them which it's very the first class only, because earlier those who were a part of demo, I have covered the basic of the SAS tool. So let me know if you all of you were part of that class. Otherwise, I can start from the basic only. Okay, all right. So I'm starting from the scratch. So this is a just okay. Sorry. So let's start from the scratch. So this tool is the SAS tool, which we are going to use a lot. We'll be doing programming. We'll see the output here, and each and everything which is related to our code will be doing on this screen only, right? Okay. So let's discuss about this tool first, and then we will move further. Okay, so I request you to keep your phone on mute. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. All right. So this is our SAS tool. So here you can see that we have some windows here. In the left side, very left side, we have result window. And then if I click on the Explorer, we have Explorer window, which contains libraries, file shortcuts, favorite folders, computer. And then in the right side, you can see that we have three windows. First is output window, where actually after execution of the program, we will see the output. And then we have the log window. Just like any other software tool, whatever is has been submitted for execution, all of the details related to execution will be logged here. So you can find every details here, which is related to execution. And then we have editor. This is very important window because you are going to write your code here, and then after execution, you will get these two windows enabled, output and log. Okay. Before that, I would like to show you the contents of the. So here you can see the file. In the file, like if I discuss about any other editor tool or maybe any other software, most of them has the file options, and file options more or so same, but there are a couple of functionality which will be different in any software. So right, so in case of if I click on the new program, that means I have a program in my system and I want to execute that program, or maybe I want to make modification in that program. So for that you will use the open program. First of all, you will open the existing program and then you will make the enhancement or maybe modification in the program. The first one is new program. New program is something like whatever I'm going to write here, that will be a new program. And if I save that and I want to use this further, so and in case if I want to use this further, I will use the open program. If it's a complete new program and I want to save it, I will use the new program. We have close for closing out the program. We have append if we want to append the code, and we have open objects also. In case if will be working on the objects, we'll be using these. We have save as normal functionality. If you want to save your program, if you want to save your program in a different manner, you will use the save as. By default, you will use the save as object. If you want to save your objects, you will be using these. Import data and export data. It is very important. So import data and export data is like, any one of you explain what do you understand by this? Because this is something which is like, if you are working on other softwares, maybe related to your software development work or any other work. So what do you understand by this? This is import. If you are importing the data, so can any one of you would like to explain this import data, export data, and then I will add further. Okay. So import data is basically, suppose I have a data in a file. Suppose you have a data in Excel file. So if I talk about data, that means the Excel will have rows, Excel will have columns, Excel may have data in a form of table. Now I want to import the data. So we'll be using import data and export data. This I will discuss in very detailed manner in this class only. But before that, I want to show you the hierarchy also. So we leave it for now, and after 10-15 minutes, we will discuss in details. And then we have page setup, print setup. How do we want to set up the page, and then print overview? So these are the send mails. Like if you want to email your code, so you will be using these functionality. But later on, once you have a good experience of coding, definitely you will like to create your code once, and then with the help of that code, you will be sending emails, you will be printing things. So but because right now you are very like this is the nascent stage in you are in nascent stage, so you will be using these functionality. But later on, once you have a good understanding of the coding, you will be using the code only. Okay, another one is edit. So these fields are not enabled. You can see that these fields are disabled. The reason behind disabling these fields, because I did not write anything in the editor portion. So if I do not write anything, so definitely I cannot do undo, I cannot do redo, I cannot do cut, copy, paste, or cut, copy, clear, or anything else, right? So let me write something here. Now if I see the, so here you can see in edit, I can see undo enabled. I can see that other fields like okay, undo, because we can do the undo. Redo is not enabled. Cut, copy, paste is not enabled. So if once you start the cut like copying and pasting thing, so it will be enabled. And then we have clear all and select all. So this has been enabled. So if you click on the clear all the code has been cleared all, right? And then you can use the select all. Whatever you wrote here, you can select that all of the code which is on the screen, that can be selected, just like Control A, Control V we do in Excel or any other software. It's more or so similar. We have collapse all, expand all. So this will be used when you will be writing a very big code. You want to collapse some of the functionality, you can click on that and you can click on collapse all. That will collapse all of the code and you will see the highlights. Like suppose you are in data step. So I will discuss this also in detail once we discuss the code, because then only you can just understand it better. And then we have view. In the view, you can see that we have enhanced editor, we have program editor. So what is the difference between enhanced editor and program editor? So program editor is basically, this is like program editor, you can see here, this is a program editor. Enhanced editor, suppose you are writing your code and you want the hints, you want the dictionary also. Like suppose you wrote like something like maybe SAS user, you write SAS u, and then by default it gave you that you may be going to use SAS user dictionary, something like that. So it will be self-explanatory. We prefer to use the program editor because suppose if you will be getting hint again and again, so definitely you will not make a habit to remember all the things, basic, especially if it's related to coding. So we avoid using enhanced editor. We like I personally encourage to use program editor, because this is how you can learn things better. And then we have log, output, graphs. So this is in view. If you want to view these fields, like suppose by mistake I close this out and I want to see this window. Please keep your phone on mute. Okay, let me do that. So you will be using these fields. You'll be click on the view and then you will click on results, explorer, contents only, my favorites only. So whatever you want, suppose by default I close these windows and I want to see this now, or maybe I want to use this windows now. So I will be click on this and it will be showed here in the bottom. And then we have tools. Tools are basically, suppose you want to write a query, so you'll be using these tools. And graphical, these are basically for reporting and graphical representation. So once you will have a good understanding of the coding, you will be using this tool. But generally, it is more useful when you are working on the reporting portion. So we prefer to use these tools. And then we have macros. run macros. So this is something which you will not do from here. You will write it. You will do these things with the code only. And then we have run. For run, we have this option. Either you can click on this run, or you can see that there is a running person here. This icon. You will click on this icon. Generally, what you will do, you will click on select your code and click on F3, because you do not have that much time. First of all, select your code and then click on F3. All right. And then we have solutions. So solutions are part of like analytics. So when you will be working on the analytics part, you will be using these functionalities. And for the reporting also, so there are multiple, like for the time series viewer, for the enterprise minor linking. So all of these functionalities are part of market research. So these are the advanced, very advanced part of analytics. And this is for Windows. Like if you want to minimize a window, if you want resize, so will be not, like you can try it yourself. You will not be taking a lot of time here. So now let's understand the hierarchy of the SAS libraries. So if I talk about the libraries, what is the use of library? So if I discuss about, like, if you go in a library, because in childhood, every one of you used to go in college library or school library. So what was the benefit of that library? So first of all, all of us know that in library, we can find all of the books which is related to our study. And apart from that, there will be some books which is like more advanced, and there will be books which will be for all of these standards. It doesn't matter if you are in standard 5, if you are in standard 10 and standard 12. Even if you want to go beyond that, you will also get some books there, right? So libraries are basically providing books on different topics, different classes, right? So library is a collection of, I can say that it's a collection of books, right? And I can segregate those books on the basis of either a standard, like if I am in standard 10 and you are in standard 12, all of us can find the books in the library, but we can divide the library in the standards, like on the basis of topics or maybe standards. Like it could be like for the history, we have a section that this is the history section, this is the computer section. So we segregate the library data also. So this is one example which I would like to relate my day-to-day work. So suppose I am working on a project. You are also working on a project. All of us are serving to a company, XYZ company. All of us are working in XYZ company. Now, maybe you are working in the analytics. I may be working in SAS programming. Someone else is working in some other field, right? Maybe testing, development, or XYZ. All of us are working on several projects also, right? Now, I'm segregating us on the basis of projects. Just take an example, if I'm segregating us on the basis of classes, right? So you are working on some project which is like suppose if you are working on a project which is US retirement pension related project, I'm taking care of a project which is a banking related project, right? So now you will create some folders to keep your data. And that, suppose if you are working on the banking project, you will create a folder for the banking, and that will be known as banking project. I'm working on the insurance project, so I will create a folder on the insurance project. So what will be the hierarchy? There will be a library. Under the library, there will be 3 projects like banking, retirement, and then there could be health related project, healthcare. So there will be 3 projects. Inside that 3 projects also, there will be some folders. Like if suppose you are working on the insurance, right? So you will have several folders that will have your code. And that code also, like suppose inside the insurance also, you can have 3 different fields which can be defined like as your pension related, your healthcare related, right? Inside the pension also, that can be have 2 different ways, something like that. So basically what you are doing, you are making a hierarchy. The parent is called a library. Under that library also, there will be some other libraries, right? So those will be kind of folders, and inside that folder we will have the client related data, client related code, client's requirements, and multiple other things. So this is the use of libraries. Now let's see how libraries works inside the SAS. So when I click on this libraries, I can see we have three folders: SAS help, SAS user, and work. Okay. So what is the why we have three folders? Because all of these folders have, like, basically all these are the libraries. All of these three libraries they have their own significance. Okay. So now if I talk about the SAS help and SAS user, and these are the permanent libraries. This is the work, this is a temporary library. Okay. So now you will have a question that what is the permanent library and what is the temporary library, right? So permanent library is something which is like, suppose if you write a code and you want to get saved, you will create a permanent library for that. So like if I see these, if I click on this SAS help, it has multiple data sets, right? And then if I go inside this SAS user, it has two folders and those folders have some instructions. Okay. So and then we have work. Inside the work we have nothing. Okay. So here, if I see that we have SAS help, which has data sets, SAS user, which can also have the data sets, but it has two folders, and then we have work. Work has nothing. So work is our temporary library, SAS help and SAS user are permanent libraries. I call it permanent because if I close the system, if I close the software, then only these data sets will be saved in these libraries only. Work library is used, suppose if I want to create a code and I want to see that if this code is working fine, if it's working whatever I want to do, so I want that code, I want that code to be saved, but I want to create, like, whatever data sets has been created, I want to delete those data sets from the system. So those are kind of temporary things which I want to do. So I will perform those things inside the work library only, because work library is a temporary library. Now, if I talk about the SAS help, SAS user. So suppose, as I discussed earlier, you are working on the insurance project and like other one is working on the banking project. So treat it like this is the insurance project, this is a banking project. Whatever code I write here, that should be saved. I do not want to delete that code. So what I will do, I will save the data inside the insurance project and the banking project. And suppose if I am trying something which I do not want to save, or maybe I want to create a code, I am trying it again and again, so I will prefer to use work library. Because once I know that my code is working fine, I will move that, maybe I can move that in SAS help or SAS user. But before that, or maybe I can create my new library. But before that, if something which is temporary, I would like to do in work. We will do the example so that we can have a better picture of this. All right. Okay, now let's understand what are the data sets. Okay, so if all of you have, if you have an idea how to work in the table, you will easily correlate the things with the data sets. So suppose if you have worked in the Excel, or maybe if you have worked in the SQL Server or Oracle, so there we have a structure. A structure is like we will have the tables, we will have the rows and columns, right? So tables will have rows and columns. What are the rows and what are the columns? All of you know. Otherwise, I will explain that also. And then we have the data. So basically, columns are the name of the data. So basically, what if I have a table which is like, suppose I create a table. Table name is my table, right? And then we have data. So what will be the data set value? Suppose we have ID, we can have age, and we can have name, ID, age, like. And then ID, value of ID is 1 and age is 20, ID is 2, age is 60, ID is 3, age is 45, something like this. So this is my table. Table name is my table. And then we have two, if you see here, we have two columns. If I say column, that means two variables I have in my table, which is what are the names of these variables? ID and age. Okay. And what are the values of this ID and age? ID has 1, 2, 3. Age has 20, 60, 45. Right? So these are the kind of, in table we have rows and columns. So if I ask you what are the rows and what are the columns here, can any one of you explain me? You can be right or wrong, it doesn't matter, but what you suggest that matters. So any one of you, if you would like to explain what are the columns, what are the rows? Dhruv, Ashendra, any one of you? I think all of you have a basic idea of the SQL and then the Excel, so it's more so similar. Okay, so ID and age, these are the columns, and 120, 260, 345, these are the rows. So this is called row 1, this is called row 2, and this is called row 3, right? So it has 3 rows and 2 columns. So this is how we treat it in a table. Okay, now let's understand. I think now it's clear what are the tables and what are the rows and columns. Any question on this? Yes, no, say something.
Hello.
Yes, yeah.
Hey, I'm Sanjeev. Yeah, I'm
Hi,
clear on
Sanjeev.
this. I mean, we can move ahead. No problem.
Okay, great.
From my side, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sanjeev. What about others? Dhruv, Ashendra? Okay, all right.
Excuse me. Hi, I'm
Yeah.
Sanjeev back.
Hi,
So I
Sanjeev.
want to know, like, what we are going to cover, like, what will be the various topics which you're going to cover.
In today's
Because
class
see,
or overall?
uh, in today's class, even we can discuss.
Okay, so I'll be discussing about, like, first of all, I would like to tell you about the structure and how to start from the basic programming. And then,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, so we will be discussing about like how to create data sets and what are the significance of levels, and how to create the like formats and informats, basic idea of those, because we will have a separate class for detailed discussion about this. And then we will also discuss like live about the libraries, how to create a library and how to keep the data there, how to import and export, that is also very important. So we'll be discussing those things. We will also discuss about a basic procedures like proc print. So and apart from that, if we get time, we will try to cover other things also. This is like what we are going to cover inside the basis, like basic starters. So these are the things. I will also explain like how to create the data set. If you want to, what are the rules for creating data set, how to copy the data sets, so multiple other things also. So we will see that,
Okay.
yeah, how we are.
Okay. And parallelly, like, I hope like this session is getting recorded also, right?
Yes, yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And in case if you have any questions, we can discuss it right now, like and maybe at the end of the class also, if you like, whatever way we can do, it doesn't matter. But yes, it should be clear to all of you, and whatever I am teaching here, that should be like, you should understand the things. So if in case if you have any question, you can raise your hand and we can discuss that question in the class only. And after that, I will also, in fact, Rahul will create a group, WhatsApp group. And in WhatsApp group, we will also discuss the problem, whatever we discussed in class, in case you will be doing the practice at home, right? And in case if you
Yeah.
have any question, you will also discuss the things on the groups also, WhatsApp group also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So from where this software will be arranged? Because I don't have this software.
Yeah, definitely you will not have that software. So we will provide you the link, which is like on demand. You can make a registration there,
Uh-huh.
and that is a kind of free of cost. So that
Oh,
you can register on that tool, which is like on demand SAS software, and you can do a practice. It doesn't matter if you're working from the home or office, because that is something which can be accessed from Internet
online.
Explorer. Yeah, online. That is online. So from
Okay.
anywhere you can access that.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So at the end of the class, we will also give you the material which will be like related to how to install, how to make registration on that software, and then how to use that. So,
Okay. Okay. No problem.
mm,
That would be helpful, I feel.
yeah. Okay, so let's move forward and let's discuss. I'm keeping you on mute. Okay, all right. So let's start with the data set. So we know how table works and what are the rows and columns. Now let's understand in the form of SAS, how SAS understands the tables. So in table, in SAS, we call the tables as data sets. So let's take example of one of the data set we have. These are the data sets you can see. So this is one of the data sets. Let's take another example which have more values. Okay, so this is a data set which has a data. You can see the data is in the form of table only, but we call it as a data set. So inside SAS, if someone asks you for a table, you will call it as a data set. Yeah, I need to create a data set, I need to update a data set, something like that. But you will call it data set only. Then you will have the rows. In tables, you have the rows. Here you will call it as the observations. So if I talk about this data set, this is the first observation. The first observation means first row. Overall number of observation, this is a very big data set. The number of observation is 1088. That means 1088 rows, but we call it as observation. My data set, whose name is AF message, has 1088 observations, and then these are called the columns are called variables. So these are the variables, and then the number of variables we have around 6. So you will say that my AF message data set has 1088 observations and 6 columns. So these are the columns. You can call it columns variables, but these are the columns, and these are the so these are the variables, and these are the observations, and we have data set. All right. Now let's double click on this message ID. If you click on this double click on this message ID, there will be a new window open which has column attribute, which is called column attributes. It means you will have understanding what this column what properties this column has. So the name of this column is message ID, and you can see the message ID information here. In case if you have worked on this SQL, so you know that when we want to rename a variable, we use alias, right? And we use like suppose if I want to treat message ID as messenger ID, so what I can do, I can write in SQL like select message ID as messenger ID. I'm providing a new name, a more detailed name. In the same way, if you want to rename not rename, if you want to provide a level is a masking. So suppose you went in a masquerade party, and so definitely you will have to keep you will have to keep a mask on your face, right? That mask could be like related to any animal or maybe any other theme which is a party theme, right? So basically your face will remain same, but you are holding a mask. That mask is called a level. Originally if you are a xyz person, you will be xyz person only, but in case if you want to give a new look to your name, so in case of xyz you want to give your name abc, that is something like you want to provide a label. Name will be same, it will be message ID only, but The level will have, like, I may want to give it a more detailed name, so I can write here messenger ID, something like that. So, and then we have length. Length is 8 by default here. That means the maximum length of the message ID can be 8. So here you can see that we have one has a length of 1 only, 17 has a length of 2, and then we have here, you can see 100, 114, something like, but you can write up to maximum 8 length of value here. And then we have format and in format. These are two very important things. We will discuss these things in very detailed manner. Maybe in second, third class, we will start working on the format and in format. So format are basically how you want to represent your data. In format is basically you are telling SAS that store my data in this format only. In format, yani store data in format. Format means I want to represent this data in the front of client, or in the front of, like, in the output window. I want to represent this data in a particular format. So for representing the data, you will use the format. For storing the data, in whatever way you want to store the data, you will give the in format. So this is 12 dot. That means, and then one important thing, all the format and in format, the way you want to give it, all this will be ending with a dot. Dot is basically to tell SAS that, so that SAS can understand that this is a format and in format. So we will have a very detailed class, but for you, right, for as of now, you can understand that format is for representing the data in the output window, or maybe in reporting. In format is basically how you want to store this data inside the SAS dataset. Okay. Then we have colors and we have font. So if you want to change your font and colors, you can do it from here, but generally we do not prefer to using these. So this is the important thing. Okay. Next one, if I click on something else, which is text, and if I see the values here. So earlier, the message ID, we will also discuss about the type of the, like, what are the type of storing data. So we will also discuss about that. Okay, this is the name of this column is text. There is no level, so by default it will take as a text also in displaying or in storing both text. Then we have length. So length of these text can go up to 200. Also, we have provided a format and in format. So this is a character type. Earlier we discussed about the message ID, which was a numeric. So we do not provide any dollar in front of that. But now, as it is a character, this is a way of representing the characters. So the format we have chosen $200 dot. That means the format, it can go up to maximum 200. Minimum it can be anything, but maximum it can go up to $200, and then both are ending with the dot only. So in representing on and in storing, both way we want the same thing. So we choose this format in format. Okay, another thing, SAS has two types of character. People may get confused that SAS can have three types of character, like one is character numeric and then date also. You will always answer that SAS has two types of storing, like SAS has two types of columns. So basically one is character, another one is numeric. All right. Here also you can see that we have defined the type 2, character numeric, but there is a special type of, which is a date. Date is also, we store the date inside the SAS in form of numeric only. But representation and format in format can be different. We will have a detailed session for that. But if someone asks you what are the data types inside the SAS, you will tell them that, okay, I think there is a question.
Hello.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Sanjeev. I need to understand, like, if dollar is specified before the 200 in format, right? Then why values are not looking like that?
Yeah, I will tell you like how this is working. I will tell you. So when
Okay.
will we,
Okay.
as of now, we are just taking a look of this, and in 2-3 minutes you will have understanding why we are using a dollar. Okay. So this is a type of SAS datasets. Sorry, SAS data types, and we have two types of data in SAS. Which first one is character, another one is numeric. So here we have a data which is in form of character. So by default, you can see that it is highlighted here. Another one which is message ID that has a numeric type of data. So that will have, if you close this and you open this, by default this numeric will be selected here, right? Okay, now let's come to your question. Okay, one more thing I would like to tell here. So one thing, if I ask you that can you tell me that what are the data sets are, what are the data types are variable and what are the numeric, before double clicking on this, can any one of you explain it to me? Because it's more so, if you have worked on the Excel, you should have
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
understanding.
See, there are multiple data types supported in different databases, right?
Hmm.
So like when we're talking about numeric, so it means like the variable can accept only number values or can store the number values only,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And in case of text or string, like alphanumeric values can be stored with while characters also. But
Right.
and when the and why I asked you that question about the format, the dollar thing,
Hmm.
because generally what happens, like if you specify any format, for
Hmm.
example date, right?
Right.
Date is in mmddy format, in US format,
Hmm.
right? Now we
Hmm.
want to see it into the Indian format, that is ddmmy. Then
Right.
we give that format to that value.
Hmm.
So anytime whenever we are pulling the data from the
Hmm.
table or data set, so that mmddy will be appearing as ddmmyy.
Yeah, right. So, with that dollar thing, I'm just going to explain it to you, so you will have
Yeah,
understanding of that. Don't worry about that. But what my question is, like, if I ask you guys, like, by looking on this only, can you tell me that which is a numeric and which is a character? So, like, you told me
yeah,
that I can tell it by looking that this is a numeric, this is a character. What
yeah.
if?
The first one is, the first one
Hmm,
is a numeric one. MSGID is a numeric one, and
hmm.
the text is of alphanumeric.
Okay, so what if this is a text, right? I know that this is a
Yeah.
text. If in case I store these line number in the text, can you explain me then that it will be numeric or character?
Okay,
Okay.
so when you are storing the data into the text column, so
Right,
that time
right,
at the time of storing it will be string, and when we are pulling it, and if we want to
right.
do any calculation, we need to
Hmm.
convert that into some numbers, right?
That is fine. But
Yeah,
what I'm saying, okay, let me explain it. So what I'm saying here that suppose I want to store the numeric part in the text. Like if I remove this all this text and I just want to store the line number, which is 11223, and I want now I ask you that can you tell me that if it's a numeric or character? Okay, let me explain how you can do that. So whatever data will be a numeric, that will be inclined towards the right side. Whatever data will be a character, that will be inclined towards the left side. So in case now I answer my question that if I store 123 inside the text, so what will happen, if that will be by default, that text will be a character type, the data will be inclined towards the left. It doesn't matter if you stored a numeric or character, but if type is character, so it will be inclined towards the left. Got it? So if someone asks you that can you tell me that if this data set, what are the characters and what are the numerics? So you can say that the data which is inclined towards the right, like suppose these are the numerics, these are the inclined towards the right. These are the numerics because these are the inclined towards the right. And these are the characters because this data is inclined towards the left. This is also inclined towards the left. This is also inclined towards the left, and this is also. So this is how you can tell that these are the numerics and these are the characters. Got it? Even Excel also follow this approach until unless we apply a inclination format, that is a separate thing. But in dataset it applies very well, and this is how it's interview question also. It's an interview question, so this is something which you can tell. Then if someone asks you that without using any procedure or without looking into the column attributes, can you tell me by looking on the data only, can you tell me what are the numerics and characters? So this is how you will answer that question. All right, now let's come to the data where we will have understanding of the why we use the dollars. Okay, so let's start uh, creating our first data set. Suppose I want to create a data set whose name is demo, and then that data set has three columns: ID, name, and gender. And ID, name, gender will have some values also. So how we can do that? How can we create a data set with the help of coding? So I'm going to create all the data sets inside the work library only. So work is the temporary library. Work is a default library also. So if I say that if you are familiar with the parent to child approach, that means just like if you have worked on the Java or any other language which is an object oriented language, so we know that we use the dot is like suppose work is my library. Inside the work I want to create a data set. The data set is demo, right? So work is a parent to child approach means first of all you will tell the parent and then you will discuss about the child which parent has. So work is a library and then demo is a data set which I want to create. This is a parent to child approach. Dot is basically telling that making a distinction because first of all you can identify that this is a parent, this is a child. So this is a way of accessing the objects in like normal object oriented language. So this is how we will be using. And then if in case if you want to create a data set which is inside the SAS help, so you will write SAS help dot demo. One important thing I want to tell here, SAS language is not a case sensitive language. It's not a case sensitive. It doesn't matter if your library name is SAS help, the first S is in capital, and if I write this first S in small, it is not a data like it is not a case sensitive. So it doesn't make any difference. So the language is not case sensitive, but data is always case sensitive. Keep it in mind very carefully. If I talk about data, that means if I use this if message. So this is how this we talk about. If I talk about the data, that means if I talk about io underscore can underscore not open, right? So this is case sensitive. If I want to make a comparison and I write it in small and I make a comparison of this first value of this column, it will not be matched. So data is always case sensitive. If you write it in capital, it will be stored in capital, and if you want to make a comparison of this data with some other data, if it finds the similar data outside, it will give a match. Otherwise, it will give you a false result. So data is always case sensitive. But if you talk about the like, if you want to write the name of this like these data sets or libraries, those are not case sensitive. Suppose if I want to use a if else condition and I write I in small, F in capital, it doesn't make any difference if I write this way, or both of this in small capital. So like whatever language you are using, that is not a case sensitive. But if you want to use like some variable, which is your variable is var1 equals to something like this, like ABC. So that means this is inside the codes. That means I'm talking about the data. That is case sensitive, always case sensitive, right? So okay, let's create a data set first. So now I'm creating a data set which is inside the work. So if I write work dot demo, or maybe if I write the demo only, I do not write the work dot, because work is the default library. But in case if you are working inside the SAS help or SAS user, you will have to provide a full name, which is like SAS help dot air, something like that, right? You cannot, but work is a default library. So if you want to provide a complete name, you will write the complete name. Otherwise, it's your choice. Okay. Now I'm creating my first data set. Okay. I wrote the data. When I write the data, that means I am telling SAS that I want to create a data set. So when you write the data, SAS by default understands that you are going to create a new data set, right? So write the name of the data set, that what name you want to provide your data set. So I want to create a new data set whose name is temp, right? So what I wrote here, data means you are going to create a data set. Then SAS will ask that I understand that you want to create a data set, but what will be the name of the data set? You will write temp. The temp will be the name of the data set. After that, you will write the semicolon. So the significance of semicolon is you are telling SAS that this step has been completed. Now SAS will understand that I need to create a data set whose name is temp. Okay. Now you will tell SAS that what will be the variable, what will be the column name inside this data set, right? So you will write input. Input is basically to tell SAS that I want these columns inside my data set. So what are the names of the columns? I need ID, I need name, and I need age. Okay, so these are the three columns which I want to create inside the temp dataset. Now you have to tell SAS that what are the types of these variables, right? What are the types of these columns? So you will tell that ID is a numeric. Okay, all right. What about the name? Name is a character. Important thing, very important thing. Listen it very carefully. So whatever variable will be a character type, you will write a dollar after those. So name is a character type. So I wrote dollar. Age is a numeric. I wrote nothing. So let's understand this logic. So if your variable is a numeric type, you will not provide anything. If your variable is a character type, you will write a character after after declaring the variable. So ID is the numeric. I wrote nothing after ID. Name, we distinguish these variables with the space. We do not write the comma or anything, right? We just provide a space. Name is a character type, so I wrote dollar here. Is it clear? Whatever variable will be character type, you will always use dollar to while you will be declaring that variable, right? So let's take one more character type. Suppose gender. Gender is a character type. I wrote one more dollar. Clear? This is how you will be declaring your variables. Variables or column, whatever you want to call it, right? Okay. Now you have declared the name of the data set. You have declared your variable. And input is a keyword which will tell SAS that now you are going to declare your variables. And then once this step has been completed of declaring the variable, you will write a colon. After that, you will definitely like to provide the information corresponding to these variables which you have declared here, right? So you will use the data lines. Data lines is like these are the data lines. Then you will write a semicolon. Okay. Now data lines step has started. What are the data? I want a ID which is 1. Name is Naila. Age is around 40. Gender is female. Right? Another one is 2. Its name is Dave. Age is 55. Gender is male. The third one is age is 38. Gender 4th. Name is 27. Female. Okay, so this is your data corresponding to these variables which you have declared. You want this data inside the data set, right? Now your data step has been completed. You will write a colon, semicolon. One important thing here, you will not write the semicolon here, right? You will write the semicolon in the very next line when your data like data lines step has been completed, and then you will write the run. Run is basically to tell SAS that whatever steps has been written before the run, all of those steps required up execution. So run is basically to tell that this is a end of linings, like whatever code I want to write. Now I want to execute this code. Is it clear? Any question on this? Okay. No question, right? All right. One more thing. If you want to use another keyword instead of data lines, if you want to use another keyword which is cards, so either you can write the data lines or you can write the cards. It's your choice. Both will work same. There is an if someone asks you in the interview that what is the difference between data lines and cards, there is no difference. Either you can use the cards or you can use the data lines. Both have the same significance. There is not a single person like 0% difference there, right? All right. So let's execute this code. So the ways of execution, you selected all of this code, and then you can click on this running person, which is for submission. This icon, you can click on this icon, submit. The code will execute. Another option could be you can go in the run and then you click on the submit button. It will do the same thing. Another way which you will be doing is select all of the code and then click on F3. Code has been executed. Okay. Make your habit whenever you submit your code, you check the log. This should be the very first thing you will have to do. Okay, go in the log. In the log, what I can see here, auto execution processing completed. All right. This is my first step. Data temp. It will give you the information regarding your data, what data set you want to create. I want to create a data set whose name is temp. Then I have the data types. Data types are ID, name, age, gender. ID and age, these two are numeric. Name and gender, these two are character. And so we have wrote a dollar after these characters, so that SAS can distinguish that what are the numerics and what are the characters. Because like SAS is not if we write like ID, name, age, gender, and we do not write the dollar, so what will happen? SAS will treat all these four as a numeric. So that's the reason that we wrote dollar here, so that SAS can understand that these are the character type. Now the important thing, the data set work.temp. So we provided the temp here, but SAS is that much like intelligent that it understands that this is a work.temp. So if you want to write the work.temp, or in case if you do not want to write the work.temp, because work is a default library, but SAS will understand, SAS will by default take it inside the work.temp. Has four observations and four variables. These are the four variables and four observation because we wrote the data for 4 lines. Okay. And then, okay, now let's check. In output, there will be nothing because there is no, we did not write any code for showing showing the details corresponding to this data set or anything else. So that's the reason that you are not seeing anything here. Okay. So another thing is like you would definitely like to see your first data set. You will go inside the work, and here you can see earlier there was nothing, but now you can see that there is a data set which is temp. Okay. Let's double click on this data set. It has ID, it has name, it has age, it has gender. Now the thing I told you earlier, if I ask you now that what are the, by looking at this data only, can you tell me that what are the variables which are numeric and what are the variables which are characters? So you can tell me that these are the variables, ID and age. These are inclined towards the right. So these are the numeric. Name and gender, these are inclined towards the left. So these are characters. Okay. One more thing. Now come to that question. We in the format and in format, if we write the $8 dot, that means this format, whenever we'll be creating a character type format, we will write the dollar in front of that. The $8 dot means by default it will understand that we are creating a format for the character type. All right. So that's the reason we wrote here $8 dot. But in case if this $8 dot is a format in your numeric also, so it will not write the dollar because that is a numeric type. This is a character type, so we will always use a dollar here. All right. Okay. So let's close this out. So now you know that. Okay, we have a question.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'm Sanjeev.
Hi.
I need to know like how to define the length of this thing because we have not specified any length.
Yeah.
Like name should accept a 200 or 800 characters like that.
Yeah. So we will, because length, and there are multiple things we will be doing. So we will have a separate class for that, because length is also like by default it takes the 8. But if you want to change the length, so there are ways of doing that. So I will be discussing those things, because there are multiple things inside this S. So we will not leave any of the things. We will discuss all of the things, but step by step, right? So first of all, you should have the understanding of this thing. Then we will be covering the length also. We will be covering the leveling also. We will be covering the format and format also, but step by step, right? So we are,
Okay.
as of now, we are working on the building blocks. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is how you can create a data set. Okay. Next thing, suppose, so this was a part of data. If you want to create a data set. So now in case if I want to fetch the information which is related to observation and variables, I have to double click on this stem, and then a new window pops up and it gives me the information corresponding to these, right? In case if I do not want to click it again and again, and I just want to write a code which will give me the information of regarding these data set. So now let's have a little bit of idea how to work on the procedures. So I will tell you a basic procedure, which is a print, right? So if you write the proc, that means you are telling SAS that I want to use the procedures. What are the procedures now? So inside the SAS, we have multiple procedures, more than 100 procedures we have. So all of these procedures are basically what SAS has done. They are very smart people, because they know that we will have a requirement of printing things, we will have a requirement of sorting things, we will have a requirement of creating reports, we will have a requirements of creating graphs. So what they did, they wrote the code in the backend, and all of those codes they wrote inside the procedures. They have provided you a way of accessing those procedures. So procedures are nothing, it's just some lines of code which has been written to perform a particular task. And they have a standard of, you will follow a standard way to accessing those procedures. Okay, now let's understand, if I want to print my data set, what approach should I need to follow? So what I will do, first of all, I will write the proc. If I write the proc, that means I'm telling SAS that I am going to access a procedure. Which procedure you want to use? As earlier I wrote the data. That means I'm going to create a data set. If you are writing the proc, that means you are going to access, not going to create. You will not create any procedures. You will just use those procedures. So I want to use a procedure. SAS will ask, okay, what procedure you want to use? You will write the name of the procedure. I want to use the procedure whose name is print. All right, SAS will understand. Yes, I understand that you want to use a procedure which is print. Next question comes, what do you want to print? You will write, I want to print a data set. You will write data equals to. That means you are telling SAS that I want to print a data set whose name is temp. Okay. So this is like how you want to, you are telling SAS that I want to use the procedure whose name is print. What do you want to print? I want to print a data set. You will write the name of the data set, data equals to. Name of the data set is temp. Then you will write the semicolon. All right. And then after the semicolon, you will write the run. Run command is basically to tell that run this procedure. Now let's select this procedure, these two lines of code, because I do not want to execute the complete code. I just want to execute this code. So I selected this code and then I click on F3. Okay, great. The output on the output window has been enabled. So here you can see that these are the observations, observation number 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have the ID, name, age, gender. These are my columns. And these are the observations. 1 Naila 40. This is the first observation, second observation, third and fourth observation. So this is how you can write a code and you can access any of the data set on the output window. You will have the output of the data set on the output window only. So this is how procedure works. Okay. So we will discuss many procedures in the class, and like so now you will have a basic idea of what are the procedures. So procedures are basically to perform, if you are working on the analysis part, you would like to suppose after making some changes, you want to print your data, maybe you want to get a report. All of those things can be done with the help of procedures. Okay. Any question as of now on this before I move further? Okay, no question. All right. All right. Okay. So let's discuss first of all a couple of these things, and then we will discuss rest of the things. So these are the basically we have taken some of the topics and then we wrote the code around these topics. Okay. So let's start with this no data set. No data set means what you have done. Okay, one more thing before that I want to explain to you. So suppose now I want to comment this out because I do not want this code. I do not want to delete this code. I just want to comment out this code. What I can do, I can click on the control and question mark. You can see all of the code has been commented out. Okay. Now let's discuss about what are the ways of commenting the lines of the code or maybe complete blocks of the code. If someone asks you in the interview that what are how you can comment out the data in this SAS, so you will say that there are two ways. One way is you are comment out the blocks of the codes. So you will have to write these are the like you will write the slash and then you will write the asterisk. Whatever lines you want to comment out, like line 1, I want to comment. The building blocks are commenting. For commenting is like you will write slash to slash, and then in between of these slash you will write the asterisk. In between of asterisk, whatever data you want to write, that will be commented out, right? Okay. Another way, suppose this is for basically for blocking multiple lines or maybe single line also. But in case if you want to comment out a single line, there is another way also. Suppose this is my line which I want to comment out. What you can do, you will write a asterisk. This line will be commented out. Whatever data lines will be commented out, those will be highlighted in green. Okay? And then now you will write the asterisk. That means this line has been commented out. Okay? But with the help of asterisk, if you are commenting, you can only comment a single line. But in case if you want to comment out a block, here you can see that I want to comment out this complete data. What I will do, I will first of all select this and then I will click on control and question mark. When you click on control and question mark, it will comment out your data, blocks of data, right? Blocks of data lines. So this, all of these has been comment out. If you want to comment a single line, what you will do, you will use a asterisk. But important thing, very important thing here, if you want to comment out a single line with the help of asterisk, the requirement of this is like your line should be ending with semicolon. If your line is not ending with semicolon, what will happen? The reason behind why it should be ending with semicolon, because something like this. I want to comment out a single line and I used a asterisk here. What happened? It was searching for the semicolon. Whenever it find a semicolon, it comment out till that. So you need to make sure that if you want to comment out a single line only, your line should be ending with semicolon. So if I wrote a semicolon here, you can see that this has been highlighted in red. These are not commented out. But in case if it's not a semicolon here, by default it comment out 2 lines because it was searching for the semicolon. If this semicolon is also not here, it will go to the third line. That means it will go till the line when it get a semicolon. So the requirement of using asterisk for commenting things is that your data line should be ending with a semicolon. Is it clear? So what are the ways of commenting lines in SAS? You can say that there are 2 ways. That one is like one line commenting and another one is you can use control question. Yeah. Okay. Right. So another thing is like if I want to uncomment the things. So here what you can do, you can remove the asterisk. Here you can select the lines which you want to uncomment. Suppose I want to uncomment these 2 lines only. I will click on Control, Shift and question mark. Earlier I clicked on Control and Shift. Now if I want to uncomment, Control, Shift and question mark. Shift is the only thing you will more press while you will be uncommenting the thing. Is it clear? All right. So this is how you can work on the commenting and uncommenting also. Okay, so let's comment it out because we are going to discuss some other code. Okay. All right. So now what will happen if I do not, okay, this can be an interview question also, right? I wrote data and then I wrote colon and then I can write something input ID cards 1, 2, 3 and then I click on. But important thing, I did not write any name of the data set. I just wrote the data. Suppose I missed to write, I was doing a coding a lot and by mistake I missed to provide it a name. What will happen? Any one of you, any suggestions or anything like if you want to because if you do not provide the name of the data set, what will happen? It will give you an error, it will do anything. What will happen? Any idea? Anything? Okay. So if you do not provide the name of the data set, and suppose if you do execution here, what happened? Says created a data set. Okay, let's check this out. What is inside this data set? It has the ID 123, which I provided in the name. Okay. What will happen if I execute this code again? I selected this and I executed this again. Says created a new data set, which is data 2. What will happen if I execute it twice? Says created a new data set, which is data 3. So what's happening over here? If you do not provide any name to the data set, SAS is that much intelligent that it will give a name to the data set. It will be type of like data 1, data 2, data 3. Like whatever time you execute it, it will give a new name. So if someone asks you in the interview that if I do not provide any name to the data set, what will happen? You will say that SAS will create a data set with the name of like data 1, 2, 3, right? So this is how it works. All right. So okay. Now there are some rules while you are giving a name to the data set, your variable, your levels, and library. Okay. Let's discuss these things first. Okay. So when I say that if you want to give a name, that means if I'm creating a new data set. I want to give it a name. So what are the naming convention? Because every language has a naming convention around creating a library, a data set, right? Okay, let's discuss about those things. So if you are creating a data set, you need to keep these things in mind that your data set can have 1 to 32 character long. The name of the data set cannot go beyond this. It should be 1 to 32 character long, right? Okay. Another thing is like your name can begin with A to Z. Uppercase or lowercase, it doesn't matter, and underscore. That means something like this. Right. So suppose your name can begin with A to Z. That means it can, you can give it a name Parul. Also, it can begin with underscore also. So your name can begin with, like, it can be Parul, it can be underscore Parul also. So it can begin with any of these things. But only underscore, not dollar or anything else. Okay. Now another point is, we, as of now we discussed about the beginning. Now it can follow any combination of letters, numbers, and underscore. That means any combination of these. That means it can be Parul 1 underscore, right? It can be P underscore G, or maybe P underscore 1, something like that, right? It can be any combination. No special character can include it. That means you cannot give your dataset a name which is like Parul at the rate, something like that, right? Only underscore you can use, but not any other special characters, right? And the length can be the length of the name of the dataset can be up to 1 to 32. So this is how these are the rules which you need to follow while you will be creating datasets. So I will provide the details around these, and you will have to take a look when you are going to create your dataset. You need to make a combination, try different combination, and then when you will be working a lot on these things, these will be in your mind, right? But in the beginning, you will have to take a look on these things, and then you need to work further. Okay, these are the rules for the naming variables. So first rule is same. Variables, that means columns basically, right? So like ID, age, gender, those were the variables. So that can be 1 to 32 character long, the name of the variables, and then it can begin with A to Z, uppercase, the same way, the same rule what we followed while creating the dataset. The same rules are for the naming variable, but one more rule is here, that a character can hold up to 32767 bytes and 32 KB of data and 64,000 bytes or 64 KB of data. So these are like, if you are storing a character, and like if you are storing a numeric, so this is how they can store the data. Okay, so mostly when you will be working on the text, you will have to keep these things in mind, that like it can go beyond up to 32767 bytes. Maximum limit is this. Okay, then we have levels. So levels are basically alias to provide a name to the maybe you want to treat ID as employee ID. So you will use the level inside the SAS. So what are the rules of creating a level? That it can be up to 256 character long. Level could not be like you want to give a level uh, which will be like the name. Basically you want to provide a name that can be up to 256 character long, not beyond that. If you want to create a like 300 400 characters long, definitely, because it's a name, so definitely you will definitely want to keep it small. And then it can follow any combination of letters, numbers, and underscore. No special characters here, right? Only letters, numbers, and underscore. All right. So underscore is like basically if you are working in the same rules will apply if you're working on this SQL Server or anywhere else. So more also rules are same. Okay. Rules for naming library. So what were the library? These are the libraries, right? We can create our own libraries also. I will tell you later that how to create the libraries also. Okay. So as of now, we know three libraries we have: SAS Self, SAS User, and Work. All right. Okay. So what are the rules of creating libraries? These are different, a bit different. The library can be up to 8 character long. Important. You cannot make it like 10 or 15. Maximum is 8 character long. The library should begin with a alphabet or underscore, not with a number. All right. So it will be begin with a, like, it can be underscore parul, it can be parul, or but it cannot be one parul. This is the difference between while we are creating a naming variable or data set. Here we cannot begin it with a number when you are creating a library. But it can follow a combination of letters, numbers, and underscore. That means your library name could be parul 1 underscore, but it cannot be one parul, something like that. Clear? So these are the basic rules which you will be following while you will be working on the data set creation, variable creation, labels, and library creation. Okay. All right. Any question on this before I move to the next topic? No question? All right. Next one is copying the data set using set. Okay. So suppose I want to make a copy of this AF message. We have a data set named AF message. I want this copy of this AF message inside the work. What I can do, but the name could be different. Suppose I want to create a data set which is dummy. Now I want a copy of this. This is my data set which is new, like a new data set which is dummy, which will be created inside the work because I have not provided any library name. What data you want inside the dummy? So I will say that I want a copy of this AF message because I want to use this for a calculation purpose or XYZ purpose, right? I want to make any changes inside the AF message. I just want copy of this data inside the dummy. So what I will do here, I will write set. Set is basically to make a copy. Set now, important thing. This AF message is stored inside the SAS Help library. So if it's inside the SAS Help library, you will have to provide a complete path. So what you will do, SAS Help dot AF message. That means you are setting the SAS Help dot AF message dataset inside the dummy. Okay, let's check out what will happen. Execute this code. Now check the log. Data dummy set SAS help dot AF message run. There were 1088 observation read from the data set SAS help dot AF message. That what it did? From the SAS help dot AF message, it read all of the observation. And what was the number of observation? 1088. The data set work.dummy has 1088 observation and 6 variables. We know that seshelp.af message had 1088 observation and 6 variables. So this has been copied inside the dummy. So if someone asks you how you can copy a data set from one data set to another, you can say that I can use a set keyword. Set is basically to copying the data along with the variables and other information. Like all of the information will be copied from one data set to another data set. Okay, so you will use a set. Okay, now if you want to see this like what dummy has, you will double click on this, or you can use the proc print also. You can see that this is a copy of like the AF message figure, right? AF message data set. All of the data and attributes, everything has been copied inside the dummy. Cool. So this is how you can make a copy of the data sets. Any question on this? Okay, now comes to the levels also.
Hello?
Yes.
So I'm Sanjeev. So I have a
Yes,
question related to copying. So
yeah.
while copying the data from a source to a new data set, right? So can we filter out few records out of it? Like let's
Yeah.
say 1000 records are there in the source level, I want to filter out 50 records based on some.
Yeah, definitely you can do anything, and definitely we will discuss those things in very detailed manner, but not now, because here you can see that we can use the where, you can use the if also. So there are multiple ways of doing those things, but yes, we will be discussing those things later. So we can do the do those things. Yes. Okay. So now, if I want to give a level, okay, for level also we will discuss them later. Let's do other things first, because this is something which I would like to cover in detail. Okay, let's do something very interesting, which is how to create a library. Okay. So this is a code of creating a library. Okay, first of all, there are a couple of things which I would like to tell you. Let's go inside the C, and then inside the C, I would like to create a folder, Chiku, right? Inside the Chiku, there's nothing, right? So why I create this folder? You can like take any insurance folder or anything. You can give it a proper name, right? So I created this folder because, okay, let's give it a proper name actually. All right. So I am going to create this insurance or something like, because I want to keep my insurance project related data here. So ensure, you can write ensure, right? So this is my folder where I want to keep my project data here, right? So what I will do here now, I will take a path of this. This is C and then ensure. I'm going to remove this code, or maybe, okay. So live name, and then what name you want to give your library. It can be, what are the rules of creating a library. So first of all, the name of the library can go up to 8 characters. So I will give it a name. How many characters are there? 2, 3, 5, 7. Insurance, right? And then where you want to live name is basically you are going to tell SAS that I want to create a library. You will write the live name. SAS will understand that okay, you are going to create a library. What will be the name of the library? You will write ensure. Insurance. This is the name of the library. Okay. Then you will give a path where you want to store this data. Whatever library will have a data. Where do you want to store that? Right. So you will give a path that whatever data set I create inside this insurance library, that should be stored at C insure folder. All right. So I'm just closing those ones. Okay, please keep this on mute. Any question? If you have a question, you can unmute it. Otherwise, keep your phone on mute. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is, I want to create a library which is insurance, and I want to store this at C insure folder, whatever data set I will create in future. Okay, select this line and then click on F3. Your library has been created. This is your new library. What is inside it? There will be nothing because we did not write anything. Okay. Now I want to create a data set inside the library which is insurance. So suppose I want to create a data set, I can use this. I do not want to write this again and again. So I want to create a new data set which is name of this is DC data. That means defined contribution related data, which is insurance pension domain related data. Okay, now one important thing. You will have to tell here that you want this data set should be stored inside the library, which is your newly created library. So what you will do, you will write the parent to child approach. This is the name of your library and this is your data set. So data insurance.dc data, that means you want to create a new data set which is DC data, and you want to store this data set inside the insurance. So let's execute this again. Let's check this out. Okay, one new data set has been created and which has been stored inside the insurance, right? Okay, now if you want to print this data, how you will print this data set? Proc print data equals to, you will give the complete name of this data set, right? By default it's work library, so by default it takes work library, but apart from work, if we are working in any other library, we have to always refer the parent child approach. Click on this. Let's see that if your data is getting printed properly. Yes, it's getting printed, right? And also check the log. Yes, there is no error, nothing, so it's working fine. If there will be an error, it will be highlighted in red. So we will discuss about those also. Okay, so this is how you can create a library. This is how you can create a new data set, and this is how you can print a data set from a library. Okay, so now I want to create another data set, like data insurance. Name could be DB data, define benefit related data, and you are saving um, any like that will be, suppose that is a copy of any, sorry, any data set which exists, which already exists. So suppose if I want to use this by, let's check out what are the observation. Yeah, suppose I want to use this, right? So what I will do, I will write set from where, what is the location of this sashel.by. Then I will click on run. Execute this. Check the log. Yes, it's working fine. Check the library. Yes, DB data and DC data. I have two data sets now. Okay, now if you want to, like, you know that these are the core data set you want to create. Now if you want to clear this library, you do not want this library anymore, your work, whatever you want to do, that has been done. If you want to clear this library, what you will write? Live name, then write the name of the library, which library you want to clear the day. Like, so I do not want this library anymore. This is like insurance. I will write the clear. This is to clearing out the content of this live name insurance. You just write a simple line, one line code, which is live name. That means I'm going to access the library. Which library? Insurance, which already exists. What do you want to do? I want to clear this out library. So if you clear this, if you execute this line, what will happen? Your library has been removed. All of the data set also removed. But very important thing here. Remember, when I create this library, I provided a path C inside the insured, and there was nothing inside that folder. Now let's check out that folder. C, inside the C, we have insure. Wow. If you go inside the insure, you can see that two data sets are there. So now these are the data set. If you want to store the data set, that will be by default stored in .sas7b det format, right? So these are called det files, data sets files. Okay. So now what happened? Whatever code you written earlier, those codes created two data sets inside your library. Now, if I want to access this library again, what I will have to do? You will have to just write one simple line. Okay, first of all, let's comment out this code because I do not need this code anymore. But okay, now if I want to access that library again, which I created, so maybe you can give it a new name also, or maybe you can give it the old name as well. Live insurance. Okay, what is the path of the live insurance? Where your live insurance exists? C colon and then the folder name, which is insure. See the magic now. If you want to execute this, what will happen? A new library has been created. Okay, double click on this. There are two data sets. Because those data sets were stored in the SAS so SAS that files. So whenever you will be accessing that folder, it will automatically create those data sets also. Interesting. So this is how you will be playing with the library.
So
Now
when
you
we did,
sorry.
I was asking that when we did clear, so what has been cleared? Is it cleared from the library or is it cleared from the
No.
cache memory?
So if you write a lib name and then provide the library name, that will be cleared from this window only, right? And whatever you did in like whatever coding you did inside the library, that will be stored at this path, which is C ensure, right? If I use this line again, so what will happen? As of now, you can see a library ensure here. Now I do not want this library anymore in SAS. I will just click on this code. Spelling is
Alright.
different. Yeah. Please. Okay. So if you execute this code now, it will remove the library. Insurance has been removed. But the path you provided, all the data sets will be stored there. Those will be still saved there, right? These are here along with the date modified and type. This is how the okay. Any other question on this? And if in case next time you want to give it a different name, you just need to provide the path where your data sets are stored and you can give it any name. Right? Earlier it was insurance, now it's insert. So this is how it works. Is it clear to anyone of you have any question? Okay, great. All right. So you know the data lines and cards both are ways of commenting. Okay, using the no ops and nobs. This is also good thing. Yeah. Sorry. Any question? All right. So what is the significance of using nobs and no ops? Okay. You remember when I executed a code here? Let's remove this code because this is not we're not going to use this. Okay. But remember, let's execute this again. Sorry. If I execute this again, what I will see that it has a ops 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So okay, write. Let's check out the other codes. What are the significance of no ops and no space ops? So this is my code. I am creating a data set which is test. Test is my new data set which has input type name, marks and age. If I want to print it, what will be the output? 1, 2, 3 and these are the name, age and marks. All right. What if I write the no ops? No ops means that I do not want these observations anymore, the sequencing of the observations. So you will just have to write while you are using the proc print procedure, you will write the no ops. There is no space between these two, right? It will give you that you do not want the observations. The sequencing, if you like, if you see here, here we have ops and we have a sequence number like 1, 2, 3, 4. If you do not want these sequencing, you will just write no ops, that I do not want the number of observations here, right? Okay. One another thing, interesting thing is like if you write no ops, what it will give you, it will give you the number of observation here, n equals to 3. So this is an interview related question. People can ask you that what is the difference between no ops and no space ops. So the first one is basically it will not print the number of observations, like sequencing of the observations on your output window, right? And what is the significance of, if you write the no space off, it will give you a counting of the number of observation, total counting, right? Like n equals to 3. If we have the right, like if we have the we have 560 marks and then we 87, something like that, right? So what it will give you, it will give you the number of observation, or total number of observation it will give. So this is the difference between NOPS and no space ops. NOPS and no space ops. Okay. All
But
right.
it is also the observations, right?
Sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
saying it is also giving the
Yes.
observations.
Yes. Yeah. So this is basically, this is you can say number of, you can read it as number of observations, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and that is for no ops. Okay. All right. So let's move to the next code now. In file. In file is important, but I will have to write the data for that. Okay. So in file. In file is basically if your data, which is what we can do first of all. Suppose this is okay. This is my data. I want to keep this data inside a text file. Okay, so these are my data lines. What I need to do, suppose I received the data from the client and which is in a text format, right? So what I can do, I can store this as okay, I will store it as inside the insurance folder. And I can give it a name which is like something like this, insure data, right? Insure.txt. Okay, remove this, close this out, remove this. Okay. Okay, and give it a name, maybe my data. Okay. Now my data has a structure which has which has the information regarding the variable name, marks, and age. But I do not have the data here. My data I have received from the client is in a separate file, which is a text file. So what you can do, like you can fetch this with the help of infile. So here you can see that we wrote the infile and we provided the path. So what I will do, my data is inside the, let's check out the path and the name. So this is the path, and what's the name? Insure.txt. This is the path, and this is, give it same name as your file name exists, right? Let me check out the file name also, otherwise it will not read the data. Insure.txt, insure.txt, insure.txt. Okay. Now let's execute this and go inside the work. Inside the my data, we have a new data set and that has the same data, right? Which I have inside the insure data.txt. So what happened here? You received the data. Here you can see that you received the data from the client, which was in text file. You can also receive the data from the client like Excel or any other data source. Suppose this time you receive data in the text file. You have a structure of the variables, right? And then you can use the in file for fetching the data from a text file or any other resource, maybe CSV file also. So in file is basically for kind of importing the data from a file, right? From the text file or CSV, you can use in file. We will also discuss about how to create the data sets with the importing and exporting. But this is very important because this is how you can provide the in like variable name in a segregate way, and then the data you can store in a text file. So this will be used when you have a data which is like may have 10,000 rows of data or maybe more than that, right? Which is in a file. So definitely you would not like to write the data lines and you will write the data. What you will use here, you will use a in file. So now if someone asks you what is the difference between in file and input, this is also an interview question, right? So what you will say, in file is basically to read the data from a data external file, from an external file. So if you want to read the data from an external file, you will write the in file. Now input. Input is basically if you want to define your variable types, right? So you will use the input. And if they are character types, you will write the dollar. If they are numeric, you will not have to write anything. In file is accessing the data from an external source. It can be CSV, it can be text file. Okay, I think we have a question.
So, hi, I'm Sanjeev.
Yes, Sanjeev.
I want to know because see, generally what happens if we receive data, which is separated by some character like comma or pipe or tab.
Yeah, so that.
So, if
Mhm.
file is comma separated, then do we need to specify the separator somewhere?
I can't hear anything.
Yep. Okay. So the question was like he is asking that if we have received data from the client, because as of now you can see that the space is segregating the data, right? So after the name we have a space, and then we have marks, and then we have a space, and we have age, something like that. So yes, in case if there is a delimiter which is like data is segregated by @ instead of space, right? So we have approaches for doing that, like DST, DLM. There are multiple of ways of doing those things that will be a part of your second and third class, right? As of now you should have an understanding of like, okay, these are the things, basic things we can do in this SAS. So first of all, like you have to build the blocks, and then once you have an idea like this is how we can import the data and things, and then we will go beyond the things, like if we have cases inside, like can have multiple cases. So you can see that in the next class you will discuss about if you are reading the data like here. So these are the things, DLM, DSD, @ missing. So multiple things are, but this will be a part of third class because I do not want to confuse all of you. So let's just start from the basic and then go in detail. Sanjeev, we will be cover those things in next classes.
Sure. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. So this is how you can import the data. Okay. Another thing is like if you want to import the data from the Excel, so that will be the last thing we will be discussing for today, and then tomorrow in next class we will be discussing other things. So very important topic. Okay. So suppose you have received the data from the client in Excel. How you can import the data? Okay. So suppose I take an example of like suppose this is my Excel file. This is my course content, right? Now I want to create, okay, let it load first. Okay, so this is loaded. So this is my course content, right? What I need to do here, like suppose, okay, let it be in this way only. This is my sheet, which is topics. No other sheet are here, only one sheet. I want this to be created in a form of data set, right? I want to import this Excel and I want to create it a data set for this, right? Okay. So how you can do that? You can import the file first of all. Click on import data. Then you will tell that you want to import data. Data source is Microsoft Excel. Click on next. Browse the workbook. Where your workbook is exactly stored, where your Excel exactly stored. You know that that is stored inside the SAS training material, and this is my course content. I click on OK. Here it will ask that which sheet you want to import, because Excel can have multiple sheets. I will create a single data set for each sheet, right? I cannot import the data from all the sheet and I can put it inside a single data set. Definitely I can't, because each sheet can have a different set of data, right? So I will mention, because here we have only one single sheet. So I will mention topic 1. Okay, topics dollar. By default, when you are dealing with the sheet, it shows the dollar at the end. This is how SAS reads the thing. Okay. Then you click on the next. Here it will ask you in which library you want to import this data. You can provide the name of the libraries, whatever library you have in your table. So I will give the work. What will be the name of member which you want to create? So I will write course. Course is my member name. And then you click on next. It is asked that there will be a code which will be generated in the backend. Do you want to use the, do you want that code on your system? I will write yes, I want to. Okay, what can be the name of that file? I wrote like code.sas, and I saved it. And then you click on finish. Okay, let's check out the work. First, check out the log actually. In the log, you can see that this is in file. Okay, here these are the information regarding the files. The work.course was successfully created. This is your thing which you did. Okay, let's check out the course first. Inside the work, there is course. Inside the course, you have serial number, you have training data, you have topics, you have test, and you have F name, because we do not have a column name. By default, it give it a column name. So this is how the information has been stored in the form of data set. Cool. So these were the blanks, so it took it as blank because we gave some row extra. So you can delete those rows if it's not required. So this is how you can import the data from the Excel. Okay. One more thing. I told you one thing, that while we will be doing next, it asked me that do you want to store this code? Okay. Suppose I delete this. I deleted the data set which created my course. Now what I need to do, I provided a path which was my code. Okay, code.sas. Let's open it. Open with Notepad. I prefer to open it with Notepad. Okay. Okay. Then I will give it a Notepad. Okay. So this is how we can say that SAS is very advanced, because what it did, I do select, like just clicking on next, and providing the multiple options. What SAS did, SAS created a code in the backend. So what is the code? Let's understand that. This is a proc code. So we have a proc, which is proc import. Okay, let's, if I execute this code, what will happen? I execute this code, and what happened? That it created the work.course successfully. So the same thing you did by clicking next and providing the options, the same thing can be done with the help of a simple code. Course has been created. So this is another way of doing things. You do not have to go in like graphical user format. You can write, you can do the same thing with the help of code also. Okay. So before we understand the code, we have a question, I think. Can access dataset directly in SAS without importing? So like, what do you mean by without importing? That means like, if we have a data set, like suppose So can you elaborate this question more, because you want to ask that can I access the data set? Definitely you can access the data set, but if your data is in form of Excel and you want that data in SAS, so definitely you have to import that data and you have to keep that data in the form of data set, right? So can you elaborate your question more, because I did not get it exactly. What do you want to ask?
Are there any other forms of importing the data, or it's just proc import? And what is the best practice of import?
Okay, so one way I told you that you can in file, you can use the in file, right? If you define the variables and use in file for the data, if you want to import the data. Excel, if you want to import the data from Excel or XSDB, or maybe you want to do a connectivity from other source, right?
CSV
So
or anything?
yeah, okay. So like in other, there could be couple of things which can be accessed with the help of proc import, but there will be situations when you may not be able to use the proc import. So there is another way of doing that, is you can make a database connectivity and you can
Okay.
access the data from any of the sources, right?
Okay. So so if I understand correctly, if the data set is huge or it's from different sources like an Access database or an Excel or a CSV file, I should use proc import. It's a small size file or it's a few lines of data, then I can probably use infile. But the recommended practice is to use proc import.
Okay, so it will depend on the situation to situation. So suppose if I receive the data in the form of CSV, I'm talking about the data only, not about the variables, right? So like if I receive the data of in text file or CSV, I will use the in file. All right. In case if
Okay.
my data is in Excel or XSDB, some in that format, I will prefer to use proc import. If data is something like I want to directly make a connectivity from the client server, which is can be DB2 or maybe SQL server, or maybe it can be any of the like Oracle or anything. What I will use connection. I will create a connection with that whatever data, like whatever DBMS I have, like, so I will make a database connection. So I will tell you those things also. But proc
Okay.
import is useful while you are importing, like client send you data in a form of Excel, because generally client do not prefer that they want to give you a complete access of your database. They like at times you will be, if you are working in the some project in which client will give you the data in the form of Excel or XSDB, something like that, so you will be using proc import. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now let's understand this code, how this code is working. Because we know the functionality, like it's more or so click on next or something like that. But in case if you want to use the proc import, how you can use that? So first of all, you will write proc and then import. So proc is you are telling SAS that I want to use a procedure. So you will write proc. Then you will write the name of the procedure. So what procedure you want to use? I want to use the import procedure because I want to import the data. Then you will write out equals to. That means whatever data I'm importing, the output should, because that is kind of the data you are taking from the Excel. That is kind of input. The output will be stored in the work.source. So this is my data set name, work.source. That can be, you can even, if it's in work, you can directly write the course. Like maybe if you want, instead of course, you can write um, content, something like that. You can write out dot, instead of work, you can write directly work, content, right? The data file equals to, that means where your XLS file is stored. So this is a path of data file, right? That my Excel file is stored at this place. What is the type of your DBMS? The type of DBMS is Excel, because my data is in Excel. Okay, so in case if this data set already exists, you can replace that. So you will write the replace, then you will write the semicolon. After that, important thing, sheet, because your Excel can have 10 sheets. You will have to provide the name of the sheet. One thing I told you, the name will be topics only, the name of the sheet, but you will write the dollar. This is a standard format. This is how SAS reads the sheets. So you will write the dollar at the end of the sheet name. Get names equals to, yes, the first column will be treated as your column names. So you wrote the got names. If in case you receive the data in the form of data only, you do not receive the first line as a names, like names of the columns, you will write no. Mixed, multiple types of variables we have. Scan text, yes. Scan the text. Use date in case if your like data has the dates also, so yes. Scan time, we use like if we have a scanning time, yes. So this is how, like, if you do not provide these fields, it will work. So remember, but just keep in mind these things. Now if you click on F3, check out if it has created the content. Yes, it has created the content, and these are the values. So this is how you can import the data. Now what if I did some manipulations in the data sets, and now my dummy is like I want to store this inside a Excel. So what you can do, you can right click on this and then you can click on export. Okay, a window will pop up. It will ask where do you want like what data set you want to export. So by default I clicked on this, so it knows that library is work and member name is dummy. If you want to change your member name, you can change from here, right? Then you click on this next. In what format you want to store this, export this data? I want to export in Excel format. All right, next. What is the you can give the path where actually your sheet will be stored. So my data, I'm giving a name to the Excel, which by default it took the type, right? I'm giving just the name of the file. Save. Click on OK. Then asking, assigning a name to the exported table. What will be the name of that table? So you can give it a name like topics, right? Because it will create a sheet also, right? And then click on the next. So this is like same what we did earlier. For like proc import, we create a code. Now my code, I want to create like export code. So I will write like export code. This will be the file in backend. If you want, you can click on that. I do not want this. You can ignore this option also. And then you click on finish. Okay, let's see what happened. I can see that there is a new file on my desktop, which is my data. If I click on this and I open this, I can see that all of the data of the dummy dataset has been exported. So if you click on this and you want to check out the number of observations, we have 1089, because the first one is the number of the first one has the information regarding the variables, and rest of these are observations. So 1088 observations has been imported. Good thing. Now you can export your data and you can send it to the client. Okay. Now let's take a look on the code also, which has been generated. Double click on this. Open it in the notepad. This is my code. Let's take a look on this code also. Because in future you will be using this code directly instead of clicking, like in the starting you can work on this. When you are new to the system, you can click on next. Once you have an understanding of this procedure, you will be using this. So this is proc export code. What it did, proc export, that means you want to export your data. Okay, what data you want to export? Data equals to work.dummy. Okay, where your out file should be saved. My out file should be saved inside the users this path, and what this is the name of the file. DBM is again Excel, replace sheet. You want to give it a name, topics, right? One important thing here, I do not provide the dollar name here. It will work. Here you have to provide the dollar name in first case. All right. In case of import, you will write a dollar. In case of export, you just write the name of the sheet directly. It will work. Okay. So this is how you can export your data also. Okay. So these are the codes. Try it at home and try to working on this exporting and importing thing. This is really interesting, and you will have the recording also. So whatever I taught you today, go through all of these things at home, and we will provide you a detailed corresponding like how to make a registration on test on demand. So Rahul will provide you the information of that. And in case if you have any question, Rahul will create a group also. You can ask the question on group but make a registration there so that you can start at least working on the basic things of the test. Okay. Any question on this?
Hello.
Yes. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can.
Hi, I'm Sanjeev.
Yes, Sanjeev.
Hi,
Yes.
I'm Sanjeev. So my question is like, can this be scheduled also? Like as we have the procedure ready now to export data into an Excel file. So can it be
Yeah.
scheduled like on daily basis?
Okay. So here you are
It should
saying,
run at a particular
yeah,
time
definitely.
period.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That can be done. Yeah, definitely that you can do.
And
Hmm.
okay, and the next question is like, as we are importing and exporting data, the entire data set. Like let's say like we are receiving 50 columns in Excel file, so we are importing all by this, right? But
Hmm.
if we want to specify the column name
Hmm.
of that tab,
Hmm.
which we are looking for, right?
Yeah,
So how can we do that also?
definitely you can do that. But that is because those are the part of the next classes. You can do any.
No, I mean that's
Yeah, 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 definitely. Even when I will go to the macros part, because SAS is,
that is fine. That is fine.
yeah.
That is
So
fine. Curious
everything
to
you
know
can,
because
yeah,
yeah.
anything which is related to
Okay.
data, you can do anything inside the SAS. So as of now, we
Okay.
have started, but yeah, later on you will see that multiple things we can do with this stock import export also. All right. So
Okay.
all right. So I request to all of you that go through the things which I discussed in today's class, and in the next classes we will move further and we will discuss the multiple other things also. So all right.
So
So
so the next
hmm,
so
yeah.
next class would be on Saturday, Sunday, or
Yes.
it's
Saturday,
only
Sunday.
Sunday only,
Saturday, Sunday.
and
Yeah.
the same time, right?
Yes. Same time. Same time. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
All right. Thank you, Jim, and please do a practice of the things. And yeah, I will connect with Rahul to provide you more details. Yes. Any question? Thank you.
Thank you.